Okay, I'm gonna get started. Oh, let me sit down. Okay. Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Oriana Abramson. I am the Denim Empress. And today I'm going to share a little bit about me and why I'm qualified to talk about Levi's and just my journey with Levi's. So we got to back this story up quite a bit. So at the time I was broke, living in Pennsylvania with my family, and I didn't have a job. I didn't have any experience working anywhere because most of the places that I've tried to apply to, they said you needed experience in order to work there. So what am I supposed to do if I don't have any experience? The only experience I did have was babysitting, and if you're doing that for family, they don't pay you. I mean, well, most of the time, I'm not sure how it is now, but when I was growing up, no, the aunties did not pay the nieces or the nephews to watch their cousins at all. No, my aunts were not doing that. But I got up one morning, got up early, and I went to the mall, the King of Prussia Mall, where I lived over there in that vicinity. So I just decided to, just get up, go in, hand in some applications. I was there almost every single day, every morning, like clockwork from 9 to 5, like a whole job, and applying online too. I had some leads somewhere, like some interviews, but nothing really pushed through. And at the time, I was just like, dang, I'm doing all of this and then nothing's coming of it. Like, it was very frustrating. So my dad, shout out to him, because if it wasn't for him, I would not have had my Levi's job and have all this beautiful denim that I have in the back if it wasn't for him. But at the time, my dad had his own business, and on his lunch break, he used to go into the Levi's store in the King of Prussia Mall and just buy jeans all the time. He bought my mom jeans, he bought me jeans. He helped fit me into my very first pair of Levi's jeans, which are the 712s. They're mid-rise slim, but those are discontinued now, so I don't even make them anymore. But we'll get into that in another video. But that's the first jeans I ever got, my first pair of Levi's ever. But he told me, he was like, why don't you just, apply to Levi's? You're applying everywhere, no one's getting back to you. And I was like, Levi's is not going to hire me. Plus, I'm still shopping at H&M to get my jeans. Baby girl, if you know, from New York. And Old Navy, that's where I was getting my jeans, and they just didn't fit me right. They didn't hold me right. They might do it for some other ladies, but for me, they were not doing it at all. But that's what I knew, and I thought jeans are supposed to kind of fit like that, so I had no idea. So he told me to go apply, and each day I kept walking by, and I was like, they're not gonna hire me. They're not. So one day I had to take a break from all the walking around in the mall. King of Prussia Mall is huge. When I tell you that place is huge, I think they're still expanding it. But I went from the front of the mall all the way to the end applying. And got so frustrated. I was so frustrated. I was just sat down, and I sat in a chair directly across from Levi's, and I'm staring at the store, and I keep staring and I keep staring, and I'm just like, let me just go in there and apply. So I had the nastiest attitude. When I tell you, I was so angry. Like, I was like, are y'all hiring? Like, I know that's not how you're supposed to conduct yourself in a business. I know that's not how you're supposed to do it. I know that. But I was just so frustrated after like months of trying to find a job, and I wasn't getting anywhere. There was this manager, her name was Tekla. She was amazing. She taught me a lot about jeans and tips and tricks with Levi's as well. Her and Dante, who was the hiring manager at the time, he was amazing. He taught me everything too. So shout out to both of them. And she was like, yeah, we're hiring. I was just like, okay, great. Where do I sign up? Where's the application? She was like, well, everything is digital now. And I was like, perfect. So she was telling me where to go. And then she asked me, she said, do you have any, job experience? I said, no, that's why I'm here. Like, it's horrible. I do not recommend this, but I said, that's why I'm here. You know, I've been looking for a job for months and no one's hiring me. No one wants to talk to me. And I said, the only job experience I have is babysitting. She was like, well, that's still an experience. You're still working. I was like, yeah, but I never got paid for it. I was like, I'm babysitting like my little cousins. Like, I, you know, that was it. And she was like, well, still put it down. So I was like, all right, cool. I sent in my application. I let her know. She was like, I'll let the hiring manager know. I was like, yeah, okay, girl. So I went on with my day, went back home. I told my dad that I applied, and he was like, you know, you got to think positive. Something great might happen. And I was like, yeah, whatever. So the next day, I actually get a call from the store manager who actually wanted me to come in for an interview. Now, he didn't interview me. His name was Matt, the store manager at the time. He didn't interview me. Dante did, who was the hiring manager at that location. So I was like, okay, cool. I couldn't wait. My dad picked out my outfit from head to toe. I wore like this marbled sleeveless top with my 712 jeans that he bought me and a pair of gray boots to match. And he was like, you'll look nice. I was like, really? I didn't come in with like a suit and a tie. He was like, you're fine. It's Levi's. I was like, okay. He was like, girl, just go. I was like, okay. So he dropped me off. He was like, good luck. I'll come in and pick you back up. I was like, all right, cool. I thought I tanked the interview because it was a group interview. So it was like me and this other gentleman. He had so many credentials. He worked in so many places, had so much more experience. And I'm like, I'm just a babysitter. So I was like, there's no way I'm getting this job. He's way more qualified than I am. And I felt like the questions that Dante was asking me, I guess I was being honest and just being like myself, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so tanking this. Like, he's gonna be like, girl, don't you ever come back in my establishment. Like, it was awful. So, well, at least I thought it was awful. But after the interview was done, my dad came. My dad came in, and I was just looking at all those clothes and looking at the jeans. I was like, it'd be nice if I work here, but I know I didn't get this job. But and I was like, well, tomorrow I'll come back up here and I'll apply to this place and this place and this place, and you know. And my dad came in and he spoke to Dante. He was like, so how did she do? And Dante was looking confused, like, how did who do? He was like, my daughter. I told her to apply here. Now, Dante and my dad are tight because my dad always bought jeans from him. So he was in my father was in Dante's client book. So he always reached out to my dad when new fits were coming out and new denim, and my dad would just run over there and just buy stuff and whatever. He was always coming in the store. And he was like, I didn't know that was your daughter. He was like, yeah, I told her to apply here. You know, she's been really looking for work and stuff. And he was like, well, she did excellent. So my dad was trying to buy a pair of jeans. He was like, I will wait for you to get that discount. And he was like, oh? He was like, yeah, she got the job. He was like, I liked her as soon as I met her. And at the time, I didn't know that. So my dad held on to that secret for like 2 days because I was like in the house panicking. I'm like, oh my God, I know I didn't get this job. And they called me and they were like, yo, we want you to come work for us. And I was so excited and so happy. I even wrote down my first shifts. It's in my book somewhere in my stuff of the day I got hired and my first shift. I wrote everything down and stuff like that. I didn't know I would bring it to YouTube, but I did. But that's what started my Levi's journey. I worked for the company for 7 years and then I moved on to a different company someplace else. And I worked at the King of Prussia Mall for about a year or so. Then I moved back to New York and I worked at the Meatpacking, RIP to Meatpacking. It was one of the best stores, in my opinion. I was originally supposed to go to the 14th and 6th location. That's for my transfer. But the manager at Meatpacking loved me so much, and they didn't have any stylists at the time, so she asked me to stay. And the 14th Street location one on between 5th and 6th Avenue is now closed too. But yeah, that's how I started. And after Meatpacking closed, but well, before Meatpacking closed, I transferred to Times Square and I was a full-time lead stylist over there. So I have an immense amount of knowledge, wealth when it comes to Levi's. Like I lived and breathe Levi's. I did so much extensive research online, on YouTube. I used to spend hours after my shift was over trying on different jeans, men and women's jeans, so I can help the customer and better help myself when coming to shop for jeans and how they're supposed to look and how the fit is supposed to feel. So that's why I want to bring my knowledge to YouTube and help other women shop for Levi's jeans, because jeans is not supposed to be, you know, tiresome when coming to shop, especially with women that I have encountered who are like, I can't find the jeans. They like, I'm talking about crying in the fitting room because they're like, my ass doesn't look good. Oh my God, it's giving pancake patty. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm too fat. Like, no, it's not, it's not like that. So that's why I started my YouTube and I want to share the wealth, because you guys don't have to struggle. Not while I'm on YouTube trying to school you on Levi's jeans. But that's just a little bit about me and how I got my start with Levi's. So if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, share it to your best friends, share it to a coworker who's struggling with jeans. I'm here to help. And I will see you guys in the next one.